Welcome to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, episode number 171. Coming up on this episode, the Leafs come from behind. Down 3-1, and they beat the Lightning 4-3 in OT. Finally, some secondary scoring, and it looks like we got some chemistry going between Domi and Knies. Nylander continues to impress. Samsonov having some early struggles, and Joseph Woll came in to steal the show last night. We got one segment tonight, the Eagles' Nest, caca. All this and more coming up on episode 171 of the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast.
Since the Leafs drafted Austin Matthews, they have not gone 3 straight games scoring 1 goal or less. I thought it was going to happen tonight, but no. Knies, 2 big goals late in the third period to tie it for the Leafs, and Joseph Woll looks ready to push for the number 1 goaltending job. We're going to break it all down right here. Let's hit the intro.
Tavares coming out, sends it in a goal. They score! They score! Holy mackerel, they score! The Leafs have won it! They're going to the second round! Do you believe this? Holy mackerel!
Welcome, everybody, to the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
Don't forget to follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Tip In Pod on Twitter or X, and email us at tipinpodcast@gmail.com. You can also hit up our Patreon page, patreon.com/the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, and donate whatever you want to help out the show. Whoa, baby. Oh, baby. It wasn't looking good against the Tampa Bay Lightning.
No.
I thought we were going to be doing a podcast talking about how the sky is falling, but they managed to claw their way back and score in OT. Looked a lot like Game 6.
Yeah, big time, man.
But it was. I thought JT scored the winner too, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is."
He did.
I didn't. Nylander get it.
They credit it to John Tavares.
Oh, did they? Because at the end of the broadcast,
no, check, he got his shaft on it at the last second.
Okay.
It went off the Tampa defenseman's skate, bounced up off JT's shaft. This is exactly what happened, and then past Johansson or whoever the fuck was in that thing.
On the replay, it didn't look like it touched his shaft.
No, when you had to, it was just barely nicked it, like just not a tip, but just barely nicked close. But no, it looked like I thought, like if it's going full speed, it looked like it was Nylander's goal. But they did credit it, whether it hit Tavares or not. I don't know. They're saying it did. They're crediting it. They're giving the credit to John Tavares for the winner. So anyway,
either way, they win 4-3 in OT.
And shout out to that too. I saw this stat. That was his 17th overtime winner in his career, 4th to put him into 4th all time ever OT winners in the regular season.
Wow,
is that not crazy? Would you not think like 17 is a lot of OT winners, but I don't know, 4th all time with his 17th. Like we're talking about Gretzky and Lemieux here and Montgomery, and like you think some of these boys would be anyway. So I think I read that right. I'm pretty sure, but 17 overtime goals is a lot. But anyway, look, folks. Yeah, I didn't think it was going to go our way here. I thought the Leafs were cooked. 3-1, clock's ticking. Obviously, they're peppering a ton of shots on net. The Leafs were, but I didn't really think that there was a ton of high danger chances. Do you think that's an accurate assessment or no? A lot of shots on net, but not a ton of quality.
Yeah, I think
nothing in the paint either, really.
No, but definitely in the second period. I felt like the second period, they could not get anything cooking. They were taking shots, but it seemed like a lot of perimeter shots. They were firing everything at the net, which is kind of good because if you're not getting a lot of secondary scoring, I'm okay to see the secondary guys just shooting the puck because you never know what's going to happen. Sure. But then I thought in the third period, it started to open up a little bit. Like a lot of like breakdowns on Tampa's end. You know what I mean? Like they gave up a lot of 2-on-1s, a lot of 2-on-nos. It was crazy.
So listen,
not looking good on Tampa's D.
Okay, I just want to say this. Eddie Belfour tonight. Are we going to hear from Eddie Belfour tonight? Yes, several times. Okay, we're gonna do a goalie segment called the Eagles Nest. We'll break it all down for you when we get there, and we're going to hear from Eddie Belfour a few times on this show. I just wanted to let everybody know, like, Eddie Belfour appreciation night here, but we'll get into that as we go. Anything else you got off the top? Because I've got some a couple absolute beauties for you before we get into it.
Let's get into it.
Before the game, Chatty, if you really scope out these pregame and postgame interviews, there is some absolute gold hiding in there, some absolute gold. So Domi said, look, we've been on Domi, much better tonight, right? We'll get into it, but we've been on Domi, not the best. He said before the game tonight, he said, if I keep working hard, I know it will come. So when I heard that before the game, I thought, wait a second, that sounds a little different from the previous tone. So I'm like, this guy's ready. He's if he keeps working hard, he knows. He specifically he said, I know I will. Or no.
I know it will come.
No, he didn't. Yeah, that's right.
He didn't say I will come.
No, I thought for a second there he might have, but no, he said it will come. But what's the difference? Whatever, same thing. It's coming. It's going to come.
Either way, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's in the ballpark, right?
And it did come.
In the ballpark.
So that was before the game. So I'm going to break it down here quickly, but this was what was said after the game by Domi and then after the game by Knies, and then we'll get into it, okay?
Okay.
This is great, man. Domi said after the game, he was asked, what did you see on that second Knies goal that tied it? And this was his response, Chad. Domi said he was just waiting for the hole to open up wide because he knew Knies was cocked and ready to go. Those were his exact words. Like, way to phrase it to the media. What were you looking at there? What did you see on that second pass over the second goal, tying goal to Knies there? He said, I was just waiting for the hole to open wide open because I knew Knies was cocked and ready to go. And that's what he said. And I just love that, man. And he was cocked and ready to go. And he ripped that baby top shelf. More on Knies later, but here's what Knies said.
You did not miss the hole.
So let me just give the last comment, and then you give your thoughts on these comments before we break the game down. So Knies says he was asked after the game by I was going to say a dumb reporter, but actually kind of a smart reporter. I'm not sure if this was a Tampa guy. I didn't recognize his voice. It was not Mark Masters. But anyway, Knies was asked after the game if he feels like there's a huge load off now that he's got his first couple goals. And Knies responded by saying, big time. So if there's just a few things there, if you want to share your thoughts on any of that.
I mean, they're pretty self-explanatory, right? You work hard, you know you'll come. You know it will come.
Well, or you.
And if the hole is wide open and you got a guy cocked and ready, let him go.
Bingo.
Because he's going to hit that hole.
Bingo. Big time.
And anytime someone asks you when you know that you got things working, it's a big time. It's a big time. I mean, those are all self-explanatory. Great job by Domi and Knies on those interviews, especially Domi.
Yeah, Domi really. Like, Domi has one good game. He starts feeling it, and then he comes out and starts making comments like
he was
wide open and ready to go. So I love that. So Domi, you're out of the doghouse, brother. You're out of the doghouse for the time being. So anything else, Chad?
No, man. Let's get into it. Let's get
Minton, healthy scratch for the first time this season. Holmberg gets the call up from the Marlies. He draws into the lineup, plays on the fourth line tonight with Reeves and Gregor. They barely saw any ice time again. Basically a three-line team here, specifically when they're like searching
when they were
for
down.
goals. But anyway, Leafs get it going. I'm going to go right into it. Leafs get it going early. 5 minutes in. Nylander and Tavares with the little how you doing in the offensive zone. Nylander scores his fourth of the season. 1-0 Leafs. I'm thinking, hey, 5 minutes in. Looking good here. And then, in the tank real quick. Tampa goes to the power play. Point and Kucherov start whipping it around themselves. Kucherov scores to tie it at 1. They aren't done there. No, they are not. Point and Kucherov start whipping it around again. Tampa scores to make it 2-1. Halfway through the first, Tampa has 2 goals on 3 shots. They aren't done there. Tampa goes back to the power play. Guess who? Kucherov fires it home from the slot to make it 3-1 Tampa. Samsonov gets the yank after giving up 3 goals on 4 shots. 3-1 Tampa after the first. Want to give your thoughts on the first period before we move on to the tail end of this puppy?
Yeah, I thought that the Leafs came out and looked good. They got that. You said it, man. They got that early goal, and you're
Not
like,
the goaltender.
no, first 5 minutes, things were cooking. And then when they scored 2 on 3 shots, I was like, you might want to think about making the change.
Okay,
now.
like it's Kucherov, and he's wiring that puppy, right?
But Samsonov he looks scrambly in the net.
I know.
He's already, even on a good day, he's a pretty wild goalie in the net, and he just didn't look like he had it. Then when it was 3 goals on 4 shots, like that's a 250 save save percentage. You want to get that out of the net.
But do you think he should have had, like, it's Kucherov wiring these puppies, right?
I don't think it really matters. I just think for the team, right? Like, what were they? They were out shooting them like 11-4.
Oh, yeah.
And it was 3-1.
Everything was going into the net.
Everything was going to the net. You had to make that change for any other reason, just to shake things up a little bit. Samsonov didn't look like he had it, but I thought the Leafs came out and were playing really well, and that deflated them. 3 goals on 4 shots is just bad.
Yeah.
But Joseph Woll, we'll get into it, but
yeah,
came in basically he had a shutout from the time he stepped in the net. That was it.
He was awesome. Much more on Wall as we get going here. So no scoring in the second. We go straight to the third
second period.
Yeah,
bad second period.
Sloppy, like just all kinds of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
McCabe, he thinks he's Bobby Orr out there all of a sudden. Jake McCabe, you're playing with Klingberg, he's playing with Liljegren now. But he's like, you're not supposed to be like pinching and up in the rush here. We got enough
pinching.
I know, but like we got enough guys on the team that can do that. But McCabe is just like, well, I can do it. Look at me. But he can't. He can't do it. Like, just stay the fuck back there and play defense. That's what this team needs. We don't need another. Like, I know they were putting up a stat about how bad the offense from the defense has been this year, off to like worse than the league. Like last year they were like second last. The year before that they were like last. Like, they just don't get production from their back end. They just don't. They don't have guys back there to do it. So McCabe's like, here, let me just drop a rocket ship to my back, and I'm just going to be flying, joining the rush every time I'm on the ice. Like, just he's got to have a little sit down there with the coaching staff, I'd say, and be like,
something's got to happen with McCabe.
Know your role. Chill the fuck out there, McCabe. But anyway, okay, so we go to the third period, Chad. Finally, nothing brewing early. 15 minutes in, it's still 3-1. I'm thinking, oh my God, it's going to be the third straight game that they've put up 1 goal and can't get anything going. No secondary offense, just crazy. Then all of a sudden, the tide starts to turn. Matthew Knies gets his first NHL goal to make it 3-1, ripped it top shelf. First regular season goal to make it 3-2. So they're getting a little closer. 5 minutes left. 2 minutes later, the 3-minute mark. Domi, Knies come down 2-on-1. Domi finds the hole. He gets it over to Matthew Knies. He was cocked and ready, and he buried that baby.
Yeah, man.
3-3. Rumor has it that's not the only thing he buried last night in Tampa Bay, but
that's a rumor.
Can't confirm, but I've seen some pictures. So
can't confirm, will not deny.
I've seen some pictures from this cat. I think he's up to a little shenanigans. Anyway, 3-3. Both goals assisted by Domi. Looks like there's a little chemistry cooking there, wouldn't you say? They've been trying to find some secondary. They just mix and match and can't find it. Fourth line isn't giving you dick. Nothing. So
it won't give you anything.
So Kampf moves to the third line to center Knies and Domi. That's because they ended up moving Yarncroc up and Bertuzzi around. Like, Keefe was,
he was trying to get something going. They were down 3-1. They were peppering them with shots, but they couldn't bury anything. So he got the blender out like Keefe always does.
So before we continue here so it's 3-3. It goes to overtime. But Domi, Knies, you want to just go there right now? What do you think? Got to keep them together, right?
I mean, at this point, yeah.
Finding holes and cocking.
Well, we talked about it last podcast, man. They're not getting any secondary scoring. It was just nice to see. Not only did you get secondary scoring, but you got it from the same 2 guys twice, which is a good sign for the chemistry that you're going to bring.
Little
So-
surprised that they didn't start overtime. Were you not? Like a little bit?
Yeah, I actually said that. Like I knew Matthews after Camp won the face-off, Matthews was coming out. You're obviously going to start with Matthews and Marner or whatever. But then they went to Nylander and Yarncroc in overtime, and I'm like, Knies has 2 goals tonight.
He just had them in the last 5 minutes.
I
Put him
know.
on the fucking ice.
Like I get you don't want to put Domi out there and you want to put Nylander out there. Okay, well it's 3-on-3. Why can't you have Nylander, Knies, and whoever? I didn't understand. I'm like Yarncroc over Knies. Knies is feeling it right now. Like he's looking at the net like I can score anything right now.
For sure.
And you know what's funny
he
about
was
that?
talking, ready to go.
Until JT scored, I was sitting there watching the game and I said, "The fuck is JT? I haven't even seen him yet." And
He
then
didn't get
boom,
on the he didn't get on the ice until
I know, and then he shows up and buries it.
So it goes to overtime, tied at 3 with a minute, some chances at both ends. Mainly, Leafs had a bunch of chances. Austin Matthews almost tore this thing wide open. Like he had some in tight chances driving the net. Like I thought he was going to end it 2 or 3 times in overtime.
He hit 2 posts at least.
Oh, for sure.
And then he had some in tight chances, like
dodge and weave, and he was all over the place. God. So it's just a matter of time before it starts coming. Well, he's already got 6 goals, but he should have 10. But anyway,
only a matter of time.
But he should have 10. Like he could have 10. He could have 10 goals right now through 5 games, no problem.
But the good part about this is that we didn't see this last year. Like it took a long time for us to see this kind of Austin Matthews. We're in game 5 right now, or 4, whatever it is. He's driving the net. He's right in the paint trying to punch it home. Loving it, man.
Yeah, man. So we'll go right to overtime here. Nylander, a minute left in overtime. Nylander puts a shot on net, goes off the Tampa defenseman in front. Looks like it hit John Tavares right in the shaft, right in the net. Just a little piece of that shaft. That's just what you want right there. Leafs come back from a 3-1 deficit and beat Tampa Bay 4-3 in overtime. Knies 2 goals, 1 assist. Joseph Woll, 29 saves. Anything else, Chad? Because I think for the first time here, we're going to hear from Eddie Belfour tonight.
Well, let's see what Eddie has to say. I mean, they hit the showers after the last game, and I don't know what he did, but he got these guys scoring goals.
Here we go. Eddie Belfour, Belfour Spirits. Let's take a little listen.
Hi, Ed Belfour here, Belfour Spirits.
Making some of the best whiskey in the world. We've been at this for 5 years, going on 6 years. And this is family operated. We go to work every day. We work on every aspect of this business. We take great pride, at watching people drink our whiskey and that big smile on their face. Like, wow, this is really, really good. That's what's so awesome is when you see those people loving your whiskey. And it's like when I play the game and at the end of the game, they're chanting my name. We just want to make really great tasting whiskey, and that's our goal. And, as it ages, it's only going to get better. We're very proud of that.
Buy a bottle and I'll sign it for you. Buy 2, I'll help you drink the second one. Have a great day.
Belfour Spirits, baby. Belfour Spirits.
Absolutely love it.
Where do you want to go? You want to go to the Eagles' Nest?
Yeah. And look, we're going to talk about the goalies here. We'll explain it once we hit the intro. But, we'll talk a little about Samsonov's early struggles. We'll talk about Joseph Woll and where their games are at and going forward, whatever. So, throw us into the intro to the Eagles' Nest, Chad. Why don't you?
All right. We'll explain it when we get back. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Eagles' Nest.
Eddie the Eagle, great name.
And watch Belfour's stick.
Wow. All right, Piggy. Come on out, Piggy.
And put it right up into his face there, and Belfour's not going to take that. Wham! Right there. He came up high. And here it comes. And the Eagles all over him.
I bet you if you pop those jeans off, you're going to find a sweaty hog.
How in the world did he make that save?
He's pulling stuff now.
Wow. All right, Piggy. Come on out, Piggy.
What better name than Eddie the Eagle?
All right. So how the Eagles Nest works.
Been a while.
It has been a while. We are going to look at the goaltending. This is specifically a goaltending segment, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to give them a score, and here's how the scores work. If the goaltender has been bad, let's say 3 goals on 4 shots bad, well, you're going to get a sweaty hog. You don't want to be a sweaty hog.
No.
It doesn't mean that you can't turn that around, but at this time, you're a sweaty hog. Now, if you've been solid, you've been giving the team a chance to win, that's a stiff hog. Nothing wrong with a stiff hog. That's all you need is a stiff hog. Sometimes I wake up in the morning with a stiff hog. That's what you need. And then if you've been out of this world, if you've been Ed Belfour, winning the Stanley Cup when he was playing for the Leafs, Ed Belfour, that kind of Belfour, well, that, my friends, is a spread eagle. And that's the best you can be.
Can't get better than that.
That's the best you be. So where do you want to start on this?
Well, we got to start with Samsonov, man.
Yeah, man.
Look, let's be serious here. In the 2 wins, he still gave up. Like, what was the score? I don't have the scores right in front of me.
Well,
what was this?
We can just look. This is his numbers this year, okay?
But he gave up 5 against Montreal in a win, and he gave up 4 against Minnesota in a win.
Yeah, he gave up 3 against Tampa on 4 shots. He gave up 2 against Florida. He gave up 4 against Minnesota. He gave 5 against Montreal.
So even in the games that they've won, he's still let in quite a few. Like, yeah. He's made some good. Look, he's
got a .435 goals against average and an .831 save percentage.
Like, he is just not. He didn't look great in the preseason either, nope. And he doesn't look anything like the guy we had in net last season.
No.
So I'm sorry, man. Right now, this guy, Sammy, you got a sweaty hog, bud. He got a sweaty hog, bud. Like, I
definitely
don't
a sweaty hog.
Right now, he's got something bothering him down there. Like, we're talking guys like Peter Mrazek, past performances, maybe not quite that bad. Matt Murray and Peter Mrazek, they would be at the top of the list for goaltenders with sweaty hogs that have played in net for the Leafs lately. But I'm sorry, Samsonov, he's got a sweaty hog out of the gates. Chad, what do you think?
Oh, yeah, he's a sweaty hog, man. All day long, a sweaty hog. He doesn't look comfortable in the net at all. He's swimming around there, and he's got a great new bucket. Other than that,
love the mask.
That, does not look good. But that's not to say that Samsonov can't turn around and be a stiff hawk sooner than later. But as of right now, if you can't come into the game. You can't come into these games and give up 5, 4, 3, like 3 on 4. If they had left him in, who knows what the score could have been last night?
Oh, no. They wouldn't have won.
No, they definitely wouldn't have won. He didn't have it. So he's a sweaty hog, and he's been a sweaty hog even in the preseason.
He's been a sweaty hog all season so far, preseason and small sample size this season. Tons of time to turn around here. But I just want to say this, too, because I did mention this last podcast, and we kind of didn't talk that much about it. But I do want to throw it to you. Like, he hasn't looked good, but we know how bad that defense is. So he's not getting a ton of help. Although, and we'll go to Woll here in a second, same defense playing in front of Woll, but I don't know. Like, it's. Do you think that there's anything to that aspect of it that's like the defense is basically shit in their own end and it's hurting his game? Or do you think that's he's just playing bad?
It might add a little bit to it, but I think for the most part, I just don't think he's comfortable. Like, he hasn't found his rhythm. He hasn't found his groove yet.
No.
But yeah, the defense doesn't help. It's not the same defense that you had last year.
No.
He still could play a bit better, though.
Yep. Okay. So let's go to Joe Woll here. Small sample size from Joseph Woll, but man, he saved their ass tonight against Tampa Bay. So go ahead.
Well, he's a stiff hawk for me.
Let's make that 2.
Okay.
Like, you can't, it's got to be special, spread eagle. Like, it's got to be special. He went in, he saved their ass, and like you said, there's nothing wrong with a stiff hawk. You wake up with a stiff hawk, you're happy about your day. Okay,
yeah, it's a good day.
You wake up with a sweaty hog. No, you're not.
You're not happy at all.
No, you are not.
You wake up with a spread eagle, best day ever.
Oh my God. Forget about it, man. Not getting better than that. Not getting better than that. But no,
you got to be like 5-0 with 3 shutouts to get
some
start the year.
Yeah, like, and just it takes a lot to get
exactly
a spread eagle here.
But you were saying in the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, I think it was Wet Puck Dry Stick, and one of your questions was, could Joseph Woll take over the number 1 job? And I went Dry Stick.
So did I.
And I still feel that way. I still feel Samsonov will find his groove.
Well, if he doesn't, though.
But crazier things have happened. And one thing I've noticed about Joseph Woll is he's so much more controlled in the net. He's not swimming out there in the crease. He's very poised for a young guy.
Dude, check this out. Domi was asked in the media scrum after the game. Domi was asked.
Is this the same cocked and loaded speech?
Yes.
Domi was on fire in this.
Well, this is a bold statement. He said he was asked about Woll and how well he played when he came in the net.
I heard this.
He said, well, when I played in Montreal, I played with a goaltender named Carey Price, and Joseph Woll reminds me a lot of Carey Price with his tendencies in net. And
his demeanor. I think he was talking about more like his calmness and
true. But he was saying both on and off the ice.
Yeah.
And if you do look at him in net, like he's for a kid, like he does look pretty calm back there. Like he's like I like a lot. Like he does take a lot. Like Eddie Belfour used to do this a lot. A lot of the pucks to the stomach. Like
Eddie Belfour was the king of just getting in position and letting the puck hit him. He didn't move a whole lot.
So well in position that it's like he's square to it. The puck's hitting him right in the groin or right in the gut.
And Joseph Woll, even last year in the playoffs, like that was a big thing to get thrown into Game 6 or Game 5. Sorry, Game 5 against Florida.
5. Yeah.
And they lost the game in overtime, but he was poised and played well in that game. It takes a lot for a kid to get thrown into that. So,
and he had a little bit of flash last night too. Like he made some nice kick saves. And like
the Kucherov save in the last 30 seconds,
huge.
Where he got his glove on top of his pad.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. He's not. Samsonov's just been getting out of position. He's like coming out at the puck and then he's leaving parts of the net wide open. Woll's not doing that, and it's not unheard of for goal. Like you never know when a goalie's just going to find it. Like goalies aren't like players where you're like, oh, you know what, give him a year in the minors and then he'll be ready to go and play on our third line. It can happen at any time for a goalie. It could be after the draft. It could be 5 years after the draft. You never know. This could be the time where Joseph Woll, he just finds it, man.
100% agree. So he will be playing in net their next game. Keith already said, which he doesn't do this very often, but Keith said Joseph Woll will be playing Tuesday night. It's a 6 p.m. start against the Washington Capitals. And he said Woll's going to be in net there, and he's pushing harder every day. And I'll tell you what, man.
He didn't have a choice. A guy comes in and shuts out the Tampa Bay Lightning for you to get the win. He deserves the next.
For sure. So we'll see. Like, I'm not going to go full-blown goalie controversy right now, but I'll tell you what, that topic is going to pick up a lot if he continues to have a good performance and then another one. And if Samsonov goes back in and he doesn't play well, then guess what? This is wide open.
It's Toronto, man. It's Toronto.
Dude, this is legitimately wide open for Woll could take that net. If he plays well enough, he could grab it 100%. Right.
Yeah. Yep. There's no that's not Samsonov's net. No. This isn't a situation where you're paying it. Like I think Samsonov's making 3.5. It's not like he's making, you went out and spent $8 million on a starting goalie. Like
1 year deal.
He could totally lose that net. And it would be not, I love Samsonov, but it would be really nice if a goalie that the Leafs drafted found his way and became the starter. Like when is the last time? James Reimer maybe is the last time that happened.
Well, yeah, you imagine like Dubas leaves, right? We talked about this earlier, and then like Woll, a Dubas draft pick, Woll becomes like the number 1 goalie, and Knies becomes a very
prominent player. Yeah.
Like it's just crazy the way things work out. But anyway, man, I'm all done there. So we'll see. We'll be keeping an eye on the goalie situation this week. We'll be back after the Washington Capitals game on Tuesday night to do another pod. You got anything else?
6 o'clock start.
6 o'clock start.
Don't forget, folks.
Anything else before we go?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, I got one little piece of information that I thought you might enjoy, and I think the listeners and the watchers might enjoy before we go. They said on the broadcast last night, Mitch Marner, since the beginning of last season, I just found this as a fun little piece of information. Since the beginning of last season, Mitch Marner has points in 69 games.
Wow.
That's a pretty good, like, I don't know if you want to get points in any more games, Mitch.
No, like Mitch, if I were you, hang it up. Retire.
Since the beginning of last year, Marner has points in 69 games. That was like, he's like fourth most, or there's only like 3 guys that have points in more games than that or something.
I mean, you got points in 69 games. You retire, you hang it up while you're on top or on bottom. I guess on bottom.
Yep. Top or bottom with that one.
Yeah, and also one last thing on this. Did you see his quote, Samsonov? This is what I love about.
Well, he didn't speak yet. He didn't speak after the game.
Well, he spoke. He said, "I have the quote here."
Oh, I didn't see him in the media
maybe this was today or whatever. But he said, "No use crying over it. The sun will come up tomorrow."
Oh, that was before. Oh, okay.
Was that before?
That was after the Florida game.
Oh, after the Florida game. Oh, yes, you're right. After the Florida game. But that's something I like about Samsonov. He's just so like, let's move on.
He's very loose.
Yeah, he's very loose. Anyway, for the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, don't forget to follow us on social media at the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. On Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment on YouTube, on Twitter or X at the Tip In Pod, and tipinpodcast@gmail.com is how you can reach us. And we will get to one of these episodes coming up. We will get to the comments and emails and questions and everything because it's fun to go through those comments. I haven't really gone through them, but I will.
Yep, for sure.
And until Tuesday, is it Tuesday at 6 o'clock?
Tuesday against the Washington Capitals. Struggling themselves, Washington.
They are
not
struggling.
The best, so.
Not the best. Not struggling like the Edmonton Oilers, but struggling. Anyway, for the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast, I'm Chad.
I'm Dale.
And we will.
Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this little fun episode of the Tip In Maple Leafs podcast. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Go Leafs, go. We'll be back on Tuesday night. Catch you guys later.